Right then, Year 7, in this tutorial I wanted to go through a little bit more about success criteria and how we add stitches onto our work. Today I'm just going to go through the difference between backstitch and straight stitch, and as you can see over here we already have some applique pieces. These ones have been hand cut, but you may be using either hand cut or laser cut ones. Over here we have a whale, and down here some seaweed that have been pinned carefully. For this lesson as well, I'm using some embroidery cotton. Now the reason we want to use embroidery cotton again when we're hand sewing is because if you use a thinner cotton you won't be able to see it with your stitches. I'm going to start with some straight stitch just down on here, and then we'll go from there. So first of all, make sure in your thread that you have a knot right at the end, okay, and then you're going to be going through your work slowly. So I'm going to start over with this one over here. The first thing is you'll need to put your knot at the back of your work. If you can't do that, then you'll have your knot showing at the front, and you don't want that because it doesn't look very good. So knot to the back, and then very carefully pull in your stitch through. So this is going to be a straight stitch. Remember, your stitches need to be about half the size of a grain of rice, okay? If they're too big you will get graded down for it, so just carefully watch as you're sewing. Now I'm using a tapestry needle on here, and that means that it's going to be a little bit harder to go through, but it's then easier to thread up with my embroidery cottons. Again, just poking through underneath, pulling through, and then popping through just half the size of a grain of rice as you go around. Now this one's quite a little bit in from the outer edge. Normally I'd sew a little bit closer, but again it's up to you on how you're doing your work, but just make sure it's always going to be neat. Keep checking at the back. A good student has good stitches not only at the front of their work but also at the back of their work as well, and you can tell that when you turn that over. So do keep all the workings at the back nice and neat as well. So you can see I've just put in 3 nice simple straight stitches, and on that I would go around the edge, and if I just flick that over you should be able to see a nice neat knot and very neat working at the back, and that's a good quality sign when I'm marking work. Okay, I'm going to pause there, and in the next tutorial I'm going to briefly go through some backstitch.